The sound of the wheelchair wheels echoed across the small, dusty garage floor as Officer Maria stepped inside, her badge catching the afternoon light but her eyes carrying a weight no uniform could hide. Her daughter, Emily, sat quietly in the chair, her thin fingers gripping the armrests, one leg secured in a heavy brace that looked far too big for her fragile frame. Across from them stood Daniel, a struggling single father and mechanic whose own hands were rough from years of fixing engines he could barely afford to touch. No one in that moment expected a miracle, especially not the one that was about to unfold. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected heroes, take a moment right now to like this video, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Grandma Dearie. Stories like this remind us that hope still exists in the most unlikely places. Daniel had been raising his 8-year-old son alone since losing his wife to illness. His small auto shop was all he had left, a fading sign, a few loyal customers, and stacks of unpaid bills tucked inside a rusted drawer. Every day was survival. Every repair job meant groceries for the week. Yet beneath the grease stains and worn boots was a man who understood pain better than most. He had watched his own child cry at night, asking for a mother who would never come back. He knew what it meant to feel helpless. Officer Maria had spent her life protecting strangers. She had run into danger without hesitation, stood strong in chaos, and never once allowed herself to break in public. But nothing prepared her for the accident that changed her daughter's life. A distracted driver had left Emily with severe nerve damage in her leg. Doctors told Maria the words no parent ever wants to hear: her daughter might never walk again. The hospital visits, the therapy sessions, the endless bills, they drained more than her savings. They drained her hope. Maria had heard about Daniel through a neighbor. They said he fixed things no one else could, that he sometimes repaired cars for families who couldn't pay up front, that he had a good heart. Desperation led her to that garage. The first time Daniel saw Emily's wheelchair, he felt something twist inside him. It wasn't pity, it was recognition. He saw a child who wanted to run but couldn't. He saw a mother pretending to be strong while silently falling apart. The brace on Emily's leg was old and poorly fitted. The wheelchair was heavy and outdated. Daniel asked gentle questions, listening more than speaking. He wasn't a doctor. He wasn't wealthy. But he had spent his life building and rebuilding broken machines. And sometimes, broken machines were easier than broken dreams. For weeks after that visit, Daniel worked late into the night after finishing paid repair jobs. He studied medical brace designs online. He contacted a retired physical therapist he once helped with a car repair. He took apart old bike parts, lightweight aluminum frames, and spare mechanical joints from his scrap pile. His son sat nearby doing homework, watching his father build something that wasn't for profit, but for purpose. Meanwhile, Maria prepared herself for disappointment. She had been promised hope before, insurance claims denied, specialists who shrugged helplessly, community fundraisers that fell short. She didn't expect much when Daniel called and asked her to bring Emily back. The day they returned, the garage looked different, cleaner, almost ceremonial. Daniel rolled out a custom-designed mobility brace unlike anything they had seen before. It was lighter, adjustable, built with care instead of factory indifference. Alongside it stood a modified training frame designed to support Emily's balance while encouraging muscle engagement. Emily looked at it with cautious curiosity. Maria held her breath. The first attempt was shaky. Emily winced as she shifted her weight. Daniel guided the brace carefully, explaining each movement with patience. Maria stood frozen, her heart pounding louder than any siren she had ever heard. Then it happened. Emily's foot pressed down, her leg trembled. The frame supported her hips as she pushed herself upright. For the first time since the accident, she was standing without the full support of a wheelchair. Not perfectly, not steadily, but standing. Maria covered her mouth as tears spilled freely down her cheeks. The strong officer disappeared in that moment. She wasn't law enforcement. She was just a mother watching her child rise again. Over the next few weeks, Daniel continued adjusting the brace, refining the mechanism, encouraging gradual muscle strengthening. He never charged a single dollar. He refused every offer of payment. He simply said that sometimes life gives you broken parts so you can learn how to rebuild something better. Emily's progress was slow but undeniable, from standing to assisted steps, from assisted steps to short distances with crutches. Each milestone felt like climbing a mountain. Maria began visiting the garage not just for therapy adjustment, but to bring homemade meals for Daniel and his son. Two struggling families, once strangers, became bound by quiet resilience. Word spread through the community. Customers returned to Daniel's shop not just for repairs, but because they believed in the man behind the wrench. Donations began arriving anonymously, enough to upgrade his tools, enough to ease some of the financial burden he had silently carried for years. But the greatest reward came one crisp morning when Emily walked slowly, carefully, across the garage floor without the wheelchair that once defined her world. Maria stood nearby, tears streaming once again, but this time they carried relief instead of fear. Daniel's son clapped proudly, and Daniel simply smiled, wiping his hands on an old cloth as if this miracle were just another day's work. It wasn't magic. It wasn't medicine alone. It was compassion combined with skill. It was a single father who knew pain and refused to let another child live inside it. Before we reach the end, I want to ask you something special. If this story is touching your heart right now, please comment the word hope below. Let the world know that kindness still matters.